Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most profound and honestly mysterious texts in all of Eastern philosophy, the Laṅkāvatāra Sūtra. It's a book that asks a question so fundamental, it can kind of shake the very ground you're standing on. Is everything you experience just a projection of your own mind? Okay, so let's get right into this, because we don't start with dry philosophy. We start with a truly strange story. In one of the prefaces to the sutra, a high-ranking official stumbled upon a copy in a monastery, and as he opened it, he got this overwhelming sense of déjà vu. He was absolutely stunned to realize the handwriting inside was his own, from a life he couldn't even consciously remember. This wild story really frames the Laṅkāvatāra Sūtra perfectly. It's not just some book, it's presented as a vessel for an insight so deep it feels like it echoes through lifetimes. And it's this very text that became the philosophical cornerstone for one of the world's most influential traditions, Zen Buddhism. I mean, its journey from India around the 4th century to China was a huge moment in spiritual history. Think about it. The legendary monk Bodhidharma, who's credited as the first patriarch of Zen, could have brought any number of scriptures with him, but he chose this one. He believed it held the key to everything. What's really incredible is just how much faith Bodhidharma had in this one text. He famously told his successor that this sutra, all by itself, was enough to print the mind of a Buddha. It wasn't just another book on the shelf. For him, this was the master blueprint for enlightenment. So what is inside this thing that makes it so special? Well, the sutra isn't a lecture. It's actually a really dynamic dialogue. You can think of it as a profound Q&A session, basically humanity's ultimate Ask Me Anything, between a brilliant seeker named Mahāmati and the Buddha himself. And Mahāmati, he does not hold back. He poses 108 distinct questions. Now, that number isn't random. It's a sacred number in a lot of Eastern traditions, representing the sum total of human delusions and big questions. So he's essentially asking everything the human mind could possibly wonder about the nature of reality. He gets right to it. He asks about the very nature of our suffering. This feeling of being trapped in cycles over and over. What does it really mean to be free? Who is this prisoner, and who is it that actually gets liberated? And then he touches on that feeling I think we've all had at some point, that sense of unreality, that strange, dream-like quality of our existence. He asks the Buddha to explain why the world seems so much like an illusion or a mirage or something a magician would conjure up. And finally, the most important question of all, right? If we're caught in some kind of delusion, how in the world do we wake up? These questions just cut through all the noise and go straight to the heart of the human spiritual quest. So the Buddha's answer to all 108 of these questions is radical, it's elegant, and it's deeply challenging. The whole thing pivots on a single world-altering concept that underpins the entire sutra. And here it is, the crucial point. The mountains, the rivers, your body, your thoughts, even the person you think you are, none of it exists independently out there. According to the sutra, it's all a manifestation of consciousness. The world is a mirror, and you are what's being reflected. The sutra gives this source a name, the storehouse consciousness. And the best way to think of it is like a deep, vast subconscious ocean. It holds the seeds, or the data, you could say, of every single past action, thought, and experience, not just from your life, but from countless lifetimes. And this metaphor just illustrates it perfectly. So the deep, calm ocean is that fundamental storehouse consciousness. Then the winds of our habits and all our sensory experiences blow across its surface. And that creates the waves of perception, everything we see, hear, think, and feel. The fundamental human error, the sutra says, is that we get completely obsessed with the individual waves, and we totally forget that they're nothing but temporary movements of one single ocean. So if this is true, it means our entire understanding of the world is basically built on a profound misunderstanding. How we perceive reality and how reality actually is are two very, very different things. This slide really highlights that stark contrast. Our everyday perception tells us we're a fixed self moving through a world of solid, separate objects. The sutra completely flips this. It says, no, there are only interdependent projections, these temporary patterns of consciousness. The world isn't out there at all. It's a reflection that's happening in here. And to really drive this point home, The sutra uses all these beautiful and evocative metaphors. It compares our reality to a mirage, a dream, the moon's reflection in water. Now, the point isn't that reality is fake or doesn't exist. The point is that it is ephemeral, it's insubstantial, and it's deceptive, kind of like a dream that we've mistaken for waking life. So what's the ultimate goal here? What's the takeaway? It actually isn't to reject the world or to escape it. The goal is to see it clearly, without all the delusions, for the very first time. And this right here is the ultimate insight of the Laṅkāvatāra Sūtra. Liberation or enlightenment doesn't come from getting out of the dream. It comes from the profound realization that you are the dreamer. The entire production, the drama, the beauty, the suffering, it all originates within your own mind. So by seeing through the projections, by understanding the source, the mind's constant churning of thoughts and labels and judgments, it starts to quiet down. And in that quiet, you can experience reality directly, without a filter. That state of direct, unfiltered perception is what the sutra calls enlightenment. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought that turns the whole investigation right back on us. The Laṅkāvatāra Sutra suggests that the ultimate journey isn't outward, to go explore the vast universe. No, the ultimate journey is inward, to understand the mind that's projecting it all. So if the world is a reflection, the most important question becomes, what are you reflecting?